Hey, welcome to Walking the Path. I've been away for 3 weeks and 3 weeks away from walking the path, but the path kept walking me. Every detour, every delay, every turn uh, became a surprise, became a teacher. And what it kept teaching me was that acceptance isn't resignation, but acceptance is alignment with the road itself. That's what I learned. All right. So I'm so glad to be back. It's been 3 weeks. I took some time off and I traveled. I came up to the United States and I went from Glacier National Park in Montana and went from Montana to Wyoming to Idaho to Utah and then down into Southern California. And I camped and hiked all the way. It was amazing. It was amazing. And Jennifer Jones, first time on in a time. That's awesome. Welcome, welcome. And welcome everybody in Instagram as well. So I'm just really grateful for this community holding steady. And I want to share with you, that travel teaches us what practice looks like in motion. And it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. The road has become my teacher. And every trip is uncertain. There's delays, there's a beauty, there's breakdowns, there's detours. But the spiritual lesson for me was that acceptance isn't passive. It's an active choice. Excuse me, an active choice. It's an active choice to meet what arises. And for example, I was in Glacier National Park. I'd been there many years before. It was absolutely beautiful. I know what these vast alpine valleys look like, 4 or 5 thousand foot swoop up to these towering peaks, aspen and conifer and pine trees, beauty, waterfalls, all this is going on. The days that I was in Glacier, there were fires in Montana, not in Glacier itself, but around, and the smoke completely obscured Glacier. Like completely. I saw fuzzy images, outlines of the mountains. Um, you couldn't see, I mean, it was really bad smoke. And, I was like, there was a part of me that was like, this sucks. Like, I want to see this, I want to see, um, I want to see what I saw, years ago. I knew how beautiful it was. And it was like, I wish it wasn't smoky. But I, at the same time, had to be in complete acceptance. Right? This is my experience. Well, this is my experience. So I didn't want to deny that there was a part of me that was like, this sucks. And then not denying that part, but also saying, okay, and this is my experience. This is what is present right now. And I really can't do anything about it. I'm here. So as I kept, playing with this, this part of me that was, oh man, this would have been beautiful to see. Oh man, I can imagine how beautiful this is. Or you look at an overlook and they'd have a picture of the overlook and you can see how it looks when it's clear. You're like, oh. So that was always coming up. And then this is my experience. What's here for me? What am I to learn from this? What's for me here? I know everything is unfolding for me. I know everything is unfolding in divine perfection. So what's the divine order here? That my time in Glacier is smoky. And the answer wasn't immediate, but throughout the time that I was there, the answers came. The answers came with messages from the mountains, messages about human time versus mountain time. That, these days, years, decades, centuries are nothing for a mountain, nothing for a glacier, but for us, it's a lot of time. And to get in touch with the spirit of the mountain. Another thing that I really saw as I was in this acceptance and like, this is what's the message? And I said to the mountain, I want to hear your language. This was in the Tetons. I said to the mountain, I want to hear your language. I want to understand you as an energy, as a presence, as a spirit. And as I'm walking, the Tetons were just amazing. I'm hiking. We were doing this 9-mile hike back through Cascade Canyon, if you're familiar with the area, and stunning waterfalls, coming down off of huge cliffs. And we saw elk and bears and deer and moose and pikas and birds. And oh my God, it was amazing. And so I said, I want to understand your language. And the mountain said to me, this is my language. Look around. This is my language. And it reminded me that God is everywhere, that there's no spot where God is not, that there's no like, oh, this is spirit and this is earth, but that's all spirit. So this is just some of the things that I learned, that this contrast between resistance and acceptance. Resisting what happened at Glacier would have caused struggle, but acceptance creates flow, and that flow was where I got to receive messages. And this is really where we are the bridge. We're the spirit and the animal, where we are spirit, but in animal bodies. Divine nature and human nature are intertwined. That's just like what the mountain said to me. Look around. This is my language. The divine nature and the human nature are intertwined, but sometimes the animal nature resists fear and control, craving, certainty. But acceptance here is the balm. And when the spirit leads, acceptance becomes alignment with the deeper order. That's really what's going on, is alignment with a deeper order. And so this was what really was revealed to me in the Tetons and in Glacier, this deeper order. Even in, man, I'll tell you, I was in Moab area and Canyonlands and Capitol Reef and Arches and Bryce, all down in southern Utah. And while the topography was very different than in Montana and Wyoming and Idaho, it was the same idea of the immensity of geological time, and that acceptance reveals a deeper order. What I got to see in this deeper order is these huge cliffs down in Canyonlands and in southern Utah, the Navajo sandstone and Wingate sandstone, these giant cliffs. That sandstone used to be sand. It actually used to be, that whole area of southern Utah was a Sahara desert-like environment 3 different times over the last 300 million years. And those cliffs were deserts that then, after the desert came oceans, and then the oceans receded and it was lakes and rivers. This caused all sorts of sediment, and sediment built. And then about 60 million years ago, huge earthquakes and eruptions happened. And these sedimentary layers that were deep underground got thrust up and revealed. And now if you go hike in that area in southern Utah, there's beach sand, there's sand all around, because the rocks, the cliffs are deteriorating, and they're returning to sand. They're returning to what they once were. Oh my God, is this a spiritual insight or what? We're all returning to what we once were. We're all remembering our wholeness. We're all struggling to become more of what we already are. And the process of erosion reveals beauty. And how many of us are going through a process of erosion in our lives right now? You know what I mean? So the road reveals both instincts, the fight and flight, which is the resistance, and it reveals the flow. And when I can step into acceptance of what's so, not resignation, but just like, oh, this is what's so, what's here for me, clarity and flow emerge. And this is really integration in motion. Integration isn't just what happens after ceremony, but it's the way we live on the road of life. And so daily practices of mindfulness and breath work and awareness, and noticing the stories, noticing the patterns that come up when things don't go my way. These were all showing me acceptance as a form of integration, saying yes to what is and letting it teach me. So I want to offer that to you. Say yes to what is and let it teach you. Hi, Susan. Love you, sister. And and then in this way, when I say yes to what is and let what is teach me just as it is without resisting it, then joy becomes a compass. So acceptance isn't resignation. Accepting what's so isn't resigning myself, but it clears the space for joy. Joy as the yes of the soul is available even in uncertainty. It's available even when we don't know. But I want to invite you to look for joy in the midst of detours. And it's not like bypassing, like everything's fine, everything's fine. It's like acknowledging, oh man, I'm on a detour. This is a time suck. Man, I'm stuck in traffic, whatever. And here I am. What's here for me? What can be revealed when I just accept what's so, when I drop the resistance, when I drop the rope, when I step off the hamster wheel, and just sit. I don't know the answer, but I know it's here. I know something good is here. I know something's happening for me. When I can accept, then the yes of what's accepting what's so, you know, allows me to find the joy in the midst of the detour, the midst of the delay, in the midst of the circumstance that I don't want happening. So, excuse me. So I want to reframe. Um, I want to reframe absence as part of the teaching. That I was gone for a few weeks, and then in that pause, it was preparation. you know, that stepping out, retreating, going on retreats, stepping out, taking time out of the matrix, gives us preparation. I feel I have so much to share in the coming weeks about the insights that came from the road. So I just want to invite you to affirm. I want to leave you with this affirmation that I accept, I align, I walk my path with joy. I accept, I align, I walk the path with joy. And just an invitation to carry this through the week as a practice. So grateful and so thankful to have this time with you, to reconnect. I'll be back now every week for Walking the Path. I will see you soon, and sending you many blessings. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye, everybody.